Morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out to KC virtually. Under better circumstances, I'd be showing everyone around our cool company in person, but we're excited that you took the time to join me virtually. We're here at KC Recycling. We're a small recycler, mostly of post-consumer material like electronics and automotive batteries. We're privately held, and we got about 60 employees right here in Trail, British Columbia. We're happy to have everyone here, so I think it's time. Let's go check out the plant. One thing you'll notice when you're visiting KC Recycling is the amount of material coming and going from the facility. We have 20 to 30 or even more trucks a day that come and go, bringing in tons of material. You know, we measure our production in thousands of tons of material, so it's a lot of material that comes and goes. So we've got a lot of heavy trucks coming in from all over Canada and all over the Pacific Northwest. Some of the materials that you'll see moving around here, we'll see trucks full of junk car batteries, like scrap car batteries from junkyards or mechanic shops. We have truckloads of consumer electronics. So if you ever take your old printer or DVD player or even old cell phone and take it to a recycling center, if it's in the interior of British Columbia, it will find its way here, where we then start the recycling process of that. And we also get a lot of material from all over Canada and the US that is former television sets. The old tube television sets have lead in the glass, and so we actually take that glass from all the electronics recyclers around and recycle that so that the lead gets reused and put into new products again. So you'll see our trucks coming and going all around here, carrying glass or carrying lead up to the smelter or carrying electronics in to be processed. Okay, here we are at the truck scale. This is where all the incoming material starts. So the trucks come in here and we weigh them full before we offload them. Then we weigh them again empty, and that's how we determine how much material was brought in to be recycled. So this is where the process all starts. And then we also use it as storage for batteries. So you can see behind me stacks of used batteries that are waiting to be processed here. Batteries are seasonal. They tend to fail in the winter time and not as much in the fall or spring, and so there'll be surges during parts of the year, and then we'll store those batteries and then go and process them during the slower times of the year. So we actually have to have a lot of storage for batteries. So each truck carries about 20 tons of batteries on it, and we measure our production by the number of tons we do. So if we do about 40,000 tons of batteries in a year, that's about 2,000 trucks that come through here just dropping off batteries every year.
Okay, here we are at the battery plant where we do all the recycling of lead acid batteries. Most people know about lead acid batteries as the starter battery in their car or truck, but there's actually lead acid batteries used in a couple other major applications as well that make up about 40% of the use of lead acid batteries. They're used as the primary storage source for backup power in hospitals and cell towers, things like that, where the weight of the battery isn't as important. Lithium-ion batteries are used when you need to be concerned about the weight, like in a laptop or a cell phone. But when they're stationary, they're called stationary batteries, they're lead acid. The other main application for lead acid batteries is for motive power for forklifts. So forklifts need a big, heavy counterweight in order to lift the material up, and so lead acid battery is what is used primarily to power the forklift battery. So we do recycling of all three of those types of batteries here, and we'll go on inside and take a look at how it works.
Hi, I'm Daryl Daly. I work at KC Recycling. I've been here for 2 years. I'm one of the lead hands. Today I'm here to show you about how KC Recycling and the battery plant works. Over here, as you can see, is where we load in our batteries. They go up the auger and into that big tower there, where they slowly get pushed out by a push ram into another auger that eventually makes it up to the hammer mill, where the batteries are crushed, the plastic is separated from the lead, and the bakelite, which is a rubber substance in the battery as well. So on the other side of the plant, after we start here, I'll show you the two different types of lead that come out of it. We have our sulfate and our metallics. And also we send our plastic through here, up that pipe, which goes into another section of the plant, in which we grind the plastic and we resell it to other people. Okay, so now, as you can see, we're at the other end of the plant. So right here is a big lead filter drum that sucks the lead out. That's our sulfate lead, which goes into this pit. On the other side, you'll see that rotary screen turning. That separates our nuggets, which is the battery post, and our fine metallics, which lands in that second pit on the far corner. As you can see off of this chute right here, that's where our battery posts land, and a little bit of our bakelite that comes out with it. And then from here, it gets shipped to Teck to be processed into lead bars. Here is the acid that we get from over here. That lead filter does suck the lead, but we also suck the sulfuric acid out, which goes into a holding tank. Once that holding tank is full, it gets pumped over into this tank right here. And then from this tank, we'll pump it over to this tank to be put into a truck to be sent up to Teck to be processed.
So the lead acid battery is actually the most recycled product in the world. Over 99% of the lead used in batteries is recovered and used again in batteries. In fact, it's really a benchmark for the circular economy. Many of you may have bought a battery before and have seen how they charge you a core charge to encourage you to bring your used battery back to the shop, which then works its way back to the manufacturer of the battery and eventually to us, where we process the battery and the lead goes back to the manufacturer to make new batteries. So it's a really great system. It's been happening for many, many decades. I think lead was one of the first products to really be focused on in terms of responsible recycling because it was known to be both hazardous and valuable. So it's a substance to be really treated with care, and you don't want to dispose of it improperly, and you can capture a lot of value easily from it by recycling it. The challenge in the industry right now is that there isn't enough capacity to handle all of the battery recycling that's going on or that's needed in North America. Historically, there always was, but over the last few years, there has been continual closure of battery recycling plants for a variety of reasons, economic reasons or regulatory reasons. And so there's less factories and companies doing it. I think right now in all of North America, there's less than 15 companies doing what we do. And that's significantly less than there used to be. So we're focused here at KC Recycling in meeting the needs of the growing market. The lead acid battery market is growing at about 5% a year. And so every year we got to find a way as an industry to recycle 5% more batteries. When we don't do it ourselves, what ends up happening is those batteries get sold via brokers to developing world countries where they do informal recycling, which doesn't have the safety or environmental protections that we value here. So it's really important that we expand our operation both for our company and for our customers, make the batteries themselves, and for all the people out there who are using car batteries. We all know that we want to see things recycled properly in our own communities and not just sent overseas. So that's the mission of KC Recycling, is really to preserve this world for future generations by tackling the sustainability challenges.
Okay, so here we are in our plastics plant. This is where we recycle the plastic part of the battery. There are three recyclable parts of a car battery: the lead, the acid, and then the polypropylene plastic. So the polypropylene plastic gets washed and then shredded and moved to this plant. Traditionally, we would sell the reground plastic or shredded plastic to plastic recyclers. Recently, we've started investing in a new part of our production here, which is this extruder behind us. What this will allow us to do is to take that washed regrind plastic and actually turn it into a finished product that can then be used to make battery cases or other polypropylene products out of post-consumer recycled polypropylene. This is a very high-grade plastic. It's quite valuable, and so we want to be able to capture that value here and create jobs here in British Columbia. Also, there's been a real movement around the world to try to reduce the amount of plastic that is collecting in our oceans. Last year, many countries signed an agreement called the Basel Accord, where they basically, all the countries agreed that they would no longer export their waste plastic. So companies like ours are now investing in improving the domestic capacity so that we don't export the plastic overseas where somehow it's ending up in the rivers and oceans. So the responsible recycling plan is for all countries to handle the full recycling of their plastic waste domestically. And as part of that, KC Recycling is actually being sponsored by the government to build this plant behind us to make that finished plastic product.
Hey guys, my name is Dakota Campbell. I work for the maintenance department at KC Recycling. We got a crew of around 10 guys, and lately we've been working on our extruder plant, trying to get it up and running. Our old extruder was probably built in around the 40s, and we ended up getting a new extruder from down in the States and pretty much had to build it from the ground up. We've had at least half the crew working on it. We're getting to the finishing touches here. We take the raw plastic that we get from the battery plants. It gets shipped over to the plastic grinder. It grinds it up way more fine, but that's still not fine enough. So we send it into a hopper, which melts down the plastic, pushes it through a real thin screen changer, and out of that comes pellets, heated up. We cool them, and then you get little fine pellet balls that we can ship out to another company that uses that plastic to make whatever they need. Something that's really cool that I've always been super proud of working here is we get the battery in and we recycle something like 99.9% of that battery. We use everything from the plastic, the acid, obviously the lead, and we're able to take all of that battery and send it back out into our economy to be reused. Our pellets are going directly back to battery manufacturer to get used again.
Okay, welcome to the electronics recycling part of KC Recycling. Here, KC Recycling serves as part of the Extended Producer Responsibility Program for electronics. So all across Canada, we collect fees from consumers when they buy new electronics at the store, and that fee goes into a program to pay for the recycling of the products. Pays for the workers that work here and the safe and responsible handling of all the materials in there. We'll take you through here, show you a little bit of the manual dismantling that we do of the electronics to get all the hazardous material out, and then you'll get to see the automated equipment where we process it at a high volume. Let's go on in and check it out.
Welcome to KC Recycling. My name's Kelsey, and this is the dismantling plant. This is where it all kind of begins. Our product comes in off of a big truck and stacked in here with sorted pallets of TVs and your small electronics like your phones, your movies, your iPods. So we take this product and we distribute it and dismantle it to take apart materials, and we put the materials in certain sections so that they can be recycled accordingly. We take the gold and mercury out of the flat screen TVs. The mercury bulbs are put in their own cardboard tubing so that they can be safely removed and discarded. We're also looking for the gold strips in the computers. You can see there's computer chips behind here. Those are taken out and melted down to get the gold strips out of there. And the glycol bulbs from the projection TVs, we drain the glycol out and the glass is recycled. All of the glass that we cut that come out of the TVs here get moved over to the glass plant, and that is broken down and sent to Tech for their lead products. Okay, so behind me you'll see some workers at some tables. So what we basically do is take the product that is delivered from the truck and we deliver it to the end of the table, and they take the product onto the table and they take the plastic off and put the plastic in the big tipper bin, which that tipper bin moves over to E-Shred and dumped on their belt for shredding and melting. The glass is dumped from the TVs, is put on the conveyor belt, and at the end of the conveyor belt there's a box that we put the glass in and transport that glass to the glass plant. Kerry at this table, he's taking apart the flats, and the flats have the mercury bulbs, and the mercury bulbs are put in those tubes. The plastic is also put in the same bin. We used to separate them, but now all the plastic is put into the same tipper bin and put all over E-Shred. They take it apart basically. They separate what different products, different type of material. The wood products that we use, some of the TVs have wood casings. So our wood casings go into a separate tipper that goes into a sea can and is brought to the dump actually. And they chip it up and they break it up to put it on the ground to cover garbage.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm the lead in the shred plant here. What we do here is we shred electronic waste from plastic down to computers and all sorts of stuff like that. We get the product from the dismantlers that they take apart. So a lot of it will go into tipper bins, and then it'll come from there and go on to blue, as we call it, and on that conveyor. And then all the board shred, which is a lot of the computer metal-based stuff that has a lot more circuit boards in it, will go into boxes, and then we use our forklift and rotate the boxes onto a shaker table. And from there it will go up into the mill and do its thing in the mill. We don't mix the products at all, so if we're running plastic, it's just strictly all the plastic. And then when we're done, we run the mill out and we switch over to the board shred so nothing gets contaminated or mixed together. And then it goes into 5 different categories. So plastics obviously will be full of plastic. The board shred is a lot of the metal and chip product in the box. And then our Zorba will be all the aluminum and obviously steel, and the fines, which is shredded residue, which is a mixture of our materials that we run, like rubber, glass, and plastic, which is just a mixture of our non-ferrous and ferrous materials. Here we have our shredder, which is a pretty resilient machine. It shreds absolutely everything that we throw into it. Other than large chunks of stainless steel, it doesn't like that, so we have to avoid stainless steel at all costs. So from there, it will go up to the in-feed, and the shredder will shred it all, and it will go onto our out-feed vibe table. And from there, it'll shake onto a rubber belt that leads up to another vibrator that will lead to our eddy current. And the eddy current will actually separate the aluminum and circuit boards with the product. So it'll actually use a magnetic field, and it'll bounce the aluminum and circuit boards over a damper onto a aluminum belt, onto the picker's belt, which then he will pick the circuit boards out of the aluminum into a different box. And then the rest of the product will fall off the magnet and into an auger, which will also give us our outbound product, which would be our board shred, as we call it, or our plastic shred. And then our Zorba will go into another box off the picking belt, and then the steel gets thrown off a magnet off of the outfeed vibrator onto another conveyor, which we put into super sack bags.
Welcome to our glass plant. This is the plant where we recycle the glass from old television sets called CRTs, or cathode ray tubes. When we made TV sets years ago, one of the challenges with them is they emit some level of radiation. So we actually designed the TV sets to have lead in the glass to protect the viewers from that radiation, which then, as we're disposing of those television sets, creates both an opportunity and a challenge. The challenge in that we don't want to be putting that hazardous lead into an unsafe disposal site. So we're trying to find a better use for it. And one of the best uses for it is to turn it back into its original material, back into lead again. So that's what we do here. We take that glass, it comes into us in the form of a tube from the TV set, and we grind it up and turn it into a product that can be used in a smelter to both replace silica that they would otherwise have to acquire from a quarry or something, and then they also get the benefit of getting the lead from that product. So it's a win-win for the smelter. And we provide that service really for all the electronics across Canada, and for much of the Western United States. We get the glass from all of those recycling operations here, and then they go from here onto a smelter. So with that, let's go in and take a look at the operation.
My name's Mike. I work here at KC in the glass plant. This is the impact mill. We process everything from cullet, which is pre-broken down glass, and CRT leaded glass, which is all in frames. When it does come in, we receive it on this side that will be loaded into a table, lifted up onto a conveyor belt that drops down into the hammer mill. What the hammer mill will do then is take these big bars, roll it and smash it, pretty much turning it into a dust form or sand. So the impact mill is also designed to recycle everything that goes through, so if it doesn't break down properly, it will return onto a return belt, go up to the main infeed, and then return into the hammer mill and come back out till it's a fine product. Once the fine product has been sifted through a vibe table that has a screen, it'll end up going on an outfeed belt that then reaches into a silo, which is equipped with an auger. It'll pour it into the tipping bin, allowing us to pick it up with the forklift and then put it into a 30-ton bin that will be then sent up to Tech Resources for meltdown.
All right, well that does it. Thank you guys for spending time with me here at KC. Really enjoyed showing off the company, and all our employees really appreciate you taking time to see the hard work that they do. If you have any questions or follow-ups for me, feel free to email me at pete@kc-recycling.com. I'm happy to give you a call back if you email me. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you here in person down the road as KC continues to grow and expand.